Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Death toll due to landslides rises to 122 in southern Indian state of Kerala. Rescue operations continue. Israel attacks Lebanon's capital Beirut, claims targeted strike against Hezbollah commander. Fresh protests in Venezuela as anger grows at disputed election result. Organization of American States to hold extraordinary meeting to discuss the situation. And in sports, India's Manu Bhaker and Sarabjot Singh shine bright on day 4 of Paris Olympics, clinching bronze in shooting. At least 122 people were killed, 186 were injured and hundreds remained missing in the Indian state of Kerala's Wayanad district after days of ceaseless rains triggered a series of landslides on Tuesday. The situation remains dire, with casualties expected to rise. The Army and National Disaster Response Force deployed several teams to rescue people, but relief efforts were significantly hobbled by the destruction of infrastructure, continuous rain and swelling waters of the river, prompting forces to trek through treacherous terrain, even as 2 Indian Air Force choppers made their way to the affected areas. The series of landslides caked a roughly 10 square kilometer area in thick layers of soil and left boulders strewn across the 2 villages, even as streams of floodwaters gushed through. Kerala Chief Minister P. Vijayan took stock of the situation with officials and reviewed the search and rescue operations. The Chief Minister announced that the State Health Department has opened a control room. Amid the calamity, Kerala is bracing for more rains as the Weather Office has issued a red alert for 8 districts including Wayanad and 7 neighbouring districts. 4 other districts are under orange alert. The landslides are worst disaster to hit Kerala since 2018, when deadly floods killed more than 400 people. The Indian Meteorological Department has predicted active monsoon conditions over most parts of northwest India over the next 4 days. Now, these states include Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Punjab, Odisha and others. Recent heavy downpours have caused significant disruption in Gujarat, and that has led to waterlogging and even a similar situation like floods in many places of the states. The Met Department has issued an orange alert for heavy rainfall in this state. After a period of intense heat, Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir experienced heavy rainfall. The Weather Department predicted that rains would persist until August 2nd. Over the next 5 days, fairly widespread rain with light to moderate intensity along with thunderstorms is anticipated across west and central India. Similar weather conditions are expected in northwestern region. The Israel Defense Forces said that top Hezbollah commander Fuad Shukr was killed in the Israeli strike in southern Lebanon on Tuesday. Israeli military spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said that Shukr was responsible for the death of 12 children in Majdal Shams in Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. He further said that Fuad served as the right-hand man to Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah and was his advisor for wartime operations.
Targeted strike in Beirut on Fuad Shukr, also known as Said Muhsin. Fuad Shukr was the right-hand man to Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah's leader and his advisor in planning and directing attacks and operations. Fuad Shukr was the commander responsible for the Majdal Shams massacre, in which 12 children were murdered. The IDF will not tolerate terrorist attack on Israeli civilians.
Pressure is mounting on Israel to restore the security situation in Israel's north as the civilian death toll rises, the result of Hezbollah rocket fire from Lebanon. It comes as world leaders are calling for restraint from both the sides, with Israel yet to respond to Saturday's attack in the Golan Heights, which killed 12 children. Sarah Coates has more from Tel Aviv.
Certainly a very worrying, a very delicate situation between Israel and Hezbollah as these international diplomatic efforts continue to really try and bring the situation under control in the wake of last Saturday's strike in the Golan Heights, which killed 12 children playing football. Israel is blaming Hezbollah for that attack. It denies that it did so, although Israel is promising a heavy response, although that is yet to come. And this is really why we are seeing so many world leaders and other countries call on their citizens to immediately leave Lebanon. One of the latest, the British Foreign Secretary David Lammy, he came out to say, "My message is clear, leave now, the risk is rising." Now, over the last few days, a number of commercial airlines have cancelled flights in and out of Beirut airport, fearing the worst as people continue to build there, potentially trying to get out of the country amid fear of an all-out war in the region. In Tel Aviv, Sarah Coates reporting for DD India.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris reacted to the development and expressed support to Israel and said that Tel Aviv has the right to defend itself.
I want to address what's happened over the last few hours in terms of the Middle East and be very clear. Israel has a right to defend itself, and I unequivocally support Israel's right to remain secure and to defend the security of Israel. What we know in particular is it has a right to defend itself against a terrorist organization, which is exactly what Hezbollah is. But all of that being said, we still must work on a diplomatic solution to end these attacks, and we will continue to do that work.
The U.S. Department of State's Diplomatic Security Service entity Rewards for Justice released a wanted poster with an undated photograph of Mohsin Shukr, also known as Fuad Shukr. The United States says that Shukr, believed to be in his 60s, played a central role in the 1983 bombing of the U.S. Merino barracks in Beirut, which killed 241 U.S. military personnel and had put a bounty of up to $5 million on his head. Venezuela is once again in political turmoil. The Latin American leaders and the United States are demanding an audit of the election results to end the stalemate that keeps the country in suspense. Protests nationwide have grown and hundreds of people have been arrested. DD India's Latin American correspondent Mary Trini Mena has more on this.
The opposition gathered in Caracas and other places across Venezuela to continue their claim over Sunday's electoral results. The clashes between protesters and security forces have been repeated since the election took place. Thousands of Venezuelans have taken to the streets showing their discontent and asking for a fair recount of the votes. Venezuela's government-controlled electoral board granted Nicolás Maduro the presidency for a third term. But the opposition casted doubts, saying the figures were fraudulent. Opposition leader María Corina Machado says she has the tallies to prove that Edmundo González is the real winner. So far, protests have left at least 11 people killed and more than 700 people detained, including key opposition leaders. Venezuelan government authorities have accused María Corina Machado and Edmundo González of promoting a revolt aiming to revert the peace in the country. The government launched an investigation that could lead to their capture. In a written statement, the UN said that it's concerned about report of arrest. It's calling the authorities to respect the right of people to demonstrate. The Venezuelan Minister of Defense announced that a coup d'etat is underway, promoted by right-wing leaders, while members of the Venezuelan armed forces pledge loyalty to Nicolás Maduro. But the doubts are not only inside Venezuela. Latin American leaders have expressed their concern. Countries like Brazil and Colombia want detailed results to be published, while diplomats from Argentina, Chile, and other countries were expelled from Venezuela for criticizing the results. The Biden administration said it's closely monitoring election, demanding electoral authorities to release full, transparent, and detailed voting results. In Caracas, Mary Trini Mena, reporting for DD India.
United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk has said that he's extremely concerned about the increasing tension and violence in Venezuela. In a statement, Turk said that he is alarmed by the reports of disproportionate use of force by law enforcement officials, along with violence by armed individuals supporting the government. UK police released on Tuesday photographs of 3 girls killed during an attack at a dance event in Southport on Monday. Police arrested a 17-year-old male suspect who was in police custody on suspicion of murder and attempted murder after the incident at the Taylor Swift yoga and dance workshop in Southport. This was a summer vacation event for children aged from 6 to 11. 8 other children suffered stab wounds and 5 remained in a critical condition. 2 adults were also critically wounded, attempting to protect the young victims. US singer Swift wrote on Instagram that she was completely in shock. Her fans have raised more than £125,000 online to help families of the victims and for the hospital where some of the children were being treated. Let's get you more updates from across the world now. Over 4,000 homes in North Korea's city of Sinuiju and Uiju County near the border with China have been flooded due to heavy rainfall. Leader Kim Jong-un chaired a 2-day emergency meeting and expressed grave concern over the damage and urged strong measures to restore the affected areas. The region has been affected by heavy rainfall from Tropical Storm Gemi in recent days. The 6th largest wildfire in the history of California engulfs northern San Francisco. More than 5,500 firefighters from across California and other states were working round the clock to douse the park fire. The park fire, which was only 14% contained on Tuesday, has forced the evacuation of more than 4,000 people and destroyed or damaged more than 192 structures. No injuries or deaths were reported. Canadian authorities reported on Tuesday that the outlook for the country's wildfires has improved as temperatures cool and rain falls in the affected areas. All fires in the town are now extinguished, but blazes continue to burn throughout Jasper National Park, and there is still no timeline for when residents can return home. Satellite imagery from Tuesday showed the Alexander Mountain wildfire continuing to burn west of Loveland in the U.S. state of Colorado. The Alexander Mountain fire has grown in size and mandatory evacuations have been ordered in some areas. Firefighters are working to contain the threatening fire. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, stay with us for a quick roundup on how U.S. presidential race is progressing with candidates trying to woo the voters. Panama Canal to increase transit slots as operations normalize after drought. Overcoming the challenges of autism spectrum disorder, a 16-year-old girl etches a swimming world record.
World turns its eyes to Paris, and DD India brings you every heartbeat, every victory, and every story. Introducing our special coverage of the Paris Olympics. Experience the passion, the drama, and the triumphs. With exclusive reports, expert analysis, and up-to-the-minute updates. Join us as we bring the spirit of the Olympics to your screens.
Get ready for the ultimate sporting extravaganza on DD India.
DD India presents Champions Day Paris. Only on DD India. Every day at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
Bye.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get you more international updates. Presumptive Democratic Party nominee Kamala Harris is hitting the campaign trail hard this week ahead of the anticipated announcement of her vice presidential pick. It comes as Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance travels to the border with Republicans, highlighting what they see as the Biden administration's failures over immigration policy. Nick Harper gets us more from Washington.
Well, Vice President Kamala Harris campaigned in Georgia on Tuesday, a crucial swing state that could help decide November's election. President Joe Biden just narrowly won the state in 2020, beating out Donald Trump by just 0.23%, the equivalent of less than 12,000 votes. Harris, becoming the Democrats' likely nominee, has suddenly breathed new life into the state. Polling had suggested that Biden was on track to lose in Georgia in a few months' time. Now, with Harris at the helm and a surge in local fundraising, the party is hoping the state is now back in play. Harris will campaign in Houston, Texas, later on Wednesday. And various news media in the US are reporting that she will unveil her running mate in the coming days, and then plans to campaign with them in battleground states as early as next week. All of this as Republicans target Harris over the government's border policy. J.D. Vance is travelling to the US-Mexico border in Arizona on Thursday. Vance and Trump accuse Biden and Harris's immigration policies of creating what they call a path of death and destruction. In 2021, Harris was tasked with addressing the root causes of migration. However, since then, illegal immigration into the US has risen dramatically. On Tuesday, the Trump campaign released its first TV attack ad, branding Harris a border czar who had failed the American people. In response, Team Harris has added a new word to its attack vocabulary, weird. It's now describing Trump and Vance and their behaviour and their policies as weird. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
U.S. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance held a rally in the Las Vegas Valley on Tuesday, his first appearance in Nevada since becoming the Republican Party's nominee. Donald Trump's running mate, Vance, unleashed a litany of attacks in southern Nevada against Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party's likely presidential nominee. The Ohio senator accused the media of misleading the American public about Harris's accomplishments. Vance also accused
Joe Biden's mental incapacity and incompetence for 3.5 years. Now the media is at it again, this time gaslighting us on Kamala Harris's record and achievement. The same media that told us for 3.5 years Joe Biden was Albert Einstein is now trying to tell us that Kamala Harris is Abraham Lincoln.
Vance also accused the vice president of disloyalty to the United States by advocating open borders and covering for Joe Biden's mental health.
Loyalty is serving your country in the Marine Corps, which is something that I did. Loyalty is taking a bullet for this country, which is something Donald J. Trump did. If Kamala Harris wants to see the face of disloyalty, she might as well look in the damn mirror.
Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have tried to link Harris to what they claim are Biden administration's failures to control high inflation and manage the surge of migrants at the southern border with Mexico. Republicans have also portrayed Harris as more liberal and extreme than Biden. The Panama Canal expects to increase the number of daily transit slots for the vessels from 236 from the current 34 beginning in September. Panama experienced its third driest year on record in 2023, lowering the canal's water level and forcing its authority to limit the number of vessels. At times, more than 100 ships at a time lined up and waited up to 21 days to use the canal, which is responsible for about 5% of global shipping. The early arrival of the rainy season in recent weeks has allowed authorities to increase the number of ships authorized to cross the canal. Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh arrived in New Delhi late on Tuesday on a 3-day visit to India to further expand bilateral strategic ties. The Vietnamese Prime Minister will hold bilateral discussions with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday. The visiting dignitary will also call on President of India Draupadi Murmu and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is also expected to call on the visiting dignitary. The Ministry of External Affairs in a statement said that India considers Vietnam as a key pillar of its Act East policy and an important partner in its Indo-Pacific vision. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India now. Creating history, a 16-year-old girl, Jia Rai, with autism spectrum disorder, successfully swam across the English Channel. Covering a distance of 34 kilometers in 17 hours and 25 minutes, Jia Rai became the youngest and fastest para swimmer in the world to achieve this feat in solo swimming. A progressive farmer from Jammu and Kashmir is setting an example after doing hybrid seedless cucumber cultivation. 17th edition of India's biggest mango event is being held in the national capital. The event celebrates the king of fruits with delightful showcase of diverse varieties and flavors. 14 artists from India's northeastern state of Tripura displayed their creativity at the 46th session of the World Heritage Committee in Delhi. Falling in line with the project Pari or Public Art of India, the artists painted murals and came up with different artwork on the theme of UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the country. All right, now we turn focus to Paris Olympics 2024. Indian teenage archer Bhajan Kaur secured back-to-back victories in the women's individual event to advance to the pre-quarterfinals at the Paris Olympics. The 18-year-old defeated Indonesia's Saifa Nurafifa Kamal and Violeta Maizor of Poland in her opening 2 rounds. So far, she has been India's best archer in women's team event. She continues to impress with her victories. However, her compatriot Ankita Bhakat, who finished 11th in the ranking round, was shown the door in the opening round of women's individual after losing to Violeta Maizor for 6-4. All right, a quick look at the medal tally also. Japan leads the medal tally with 7 golds, 2 silvers and 4 bronze. It is closely followed by China, which has clinched 6 golds, 6 silvers and 2 bronze medals so far. Australia is at the 3rd position with 6 golds, 4 silvers and 1 bronze medal. India is at the 33rd position with 2 bronze medals. All right, DD India correspondent Narayan Singh joins us. Narayan, good morning. It was a great day for India on day 4 at Paris. Manu Bhakar's unprecedented achievement took the spotlight. All right, take us through all the events and the highlights of day 4.
It was a watershed, monumental day for the Indian sporting history, the kind of performance by our shooters. Manu Bhakar became the first shooter, first athlete in the independent India to win 2 medals in a single edition of the games. She, along with Sarabjot Singh, won bronze medal in the mixed team event of the 10-meter air pistol event. So we can say that it is an historic achievement for the shooting and also for the Indian sports. And we can call it that it will just act as a catalyst in the performance of the other athletes also, and it will bring positivity in the Indian camp also. And we are hoping that this double delight will help the other athletes to boost their campaign. And when in the other sports, especially we talk about the badminton, in table tennis, when our players is moved to the next round, definitely they will also be a medal contender for India. But talking about shooting, it's an extraordinary thing, and in the past few years we have just witnessed the kind of performance our shooters have delivered, and we are hoping that this kind of performance will continue in shooting in the coming days. If we talk about in the male shooting, we have Aishwarya is there, Vijayveer Sidhu is there, and many more names are there. They are also capable to win medals for India, and especially Swift Kaur Samra, she has done exceptionally well in the recent past. So we are hoping that all these shooters can do exceptionally well, and at least 3-4 medals we are expecting from shooting. And if shooting is doing well, definitely India can here add a rich haul of medal in the Paris Games.
All right, Narayan, thank you for joining in. And with that, we end this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the respective QR codes on your screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.